Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. I'm Vidya, and in this video I'm going to talk about your menstrual cycle and all about ovulation and your fertile days. So this video is helpful for girls who are trying to conceive sometime in the near future, because every month you have a certain number of fertile days. Knowing that greatly increases your chances of conceiving quicker. And this is also helpful for girls who have maybe irregular periods or PCOD, because knowing your cycle and knowing your ovulation kind of helps you get in tune with your body and lets you know if everything is going well. Now, if you've been having your period for a few years, you probably have an idea of how long your cycle is. A normal cycle, a healthy cycle, can range between 25 to 35, even 40 days, and you shouldn't compare yourself to the length of other girls' cycles, because everybody is different, every body is unique. And they say an average cycle is 28 days, but it doesn't mean anything, because your cycle is unique to you. So if you're getting your period every 35 days, but you get it every 35 days regularly, then you're completely normal. But if you have like an irregular period, some days you get it for 25 days, some days you get it at 35 days, sometimes 40 days, that means you have a problem. So the number of days of your cycle doesn't matter much, as long as you're getting your period regularly. Also, it doesn't have to be exactly that many days long every single month. So even if you get your period 1 or 2 days early or late, it doesn't mean that something is wrong, because a lot of things like stress, sleep, food, exercise, all these things affect your cycle, affect your hormones, because your reproductive system is run by a very delicate balance of hormones. So a lot of things can change your cycle for a little bit. But if your cycle is consistently irregular, definitely talk to your doctor. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail about how we get our period and the biology of all of that. You can find a lot of information about that on the internet. But in a nutshell, our ovaries prepare and release one egg every month for fertilization. So that means you have one chance every month to get pregnant, and this is called ovulation. And your most fertile days are the days just before ovulation occurs. So if you can find out what days you're most fertile, then you greatly increase your chances of getting pregnant that month. So how do you find out when you're ovulating, right? So there are a few different ways to find out when you're ovulating. Some of them are more accurate than the others, and I'll talk about a few of them. The easiest way to find out when you're ovulating is by charting your cycle. Now, this is much simpler than it sounds. All you have to do is on the day your period starts, the first day of your period, mark it as day 1 on a calendar, and keep going until you reach the first day of your next period. So this length, the day from the starting of your first period to the last day just before your next period starts, that's the length of your cycle. If you do it for a couple of months, you'll find out approximately how long your cycle is. And then your next step is to find out when you're ovulating. So from the length of your cycle, your ovulation happens 14 days, so 2 weeks before your period starts. So if your cycle is 30 days long, it means you're ovulating on day 16. If your cycle is 34 days long, all you have to do is 34 minus 14, you ovulate on day 20. So it's fairly easy to predict when you're ovulating if you have a regular cycle. If you have irregular periods, then also you ovulate at some point during your cycle, you definitely ovulate. But it's a little hard to predict when you're ovulating if you have irregular cycles. In that case, you might want to use one of the other methods that I'll talk about now. But once you know when you're ovulating approximately, then it's easy to find out your most fertile days. So your most fertile days are 5 days before you ovulate and the day of ovulation. So 6 days in total are your most fertile days. So let's say your cycle is 30 days long, so you ovulate on day 16, right? And your most fertile days are from day 11 to day 16. So these 6 days are when you are most likely to get pregnant. if you plan your pregnancy on the other days of your cycle, there are very less chances of getting pregnant. And even in these 6 days, on day 3, 4, 5 and 6 closest to ovulation are even more fertile for you. So on day 11 to 16, let's say, are your fertile days. 14, 15, 16 are even more fertile than 11, 12, 13. So if you're, like I said, if your cycle is fairly regular, it's kind of easy to pinpoint exactly when you ovulate and when you are most fertile. So it's a very easy calculation to make. All you have to do is find the length of your cycle from day 1 of your period to the day before your next period starts, and then minus 14 is the day when you ovulate, and that minus 5 is your fertility window. So it's not hard to make this calculation, but there are apps that do this for you. You can search for period tracker apps on your app store, and you'll find quite a few of them, and they make it really simple because all you have to do is enter the day that your period starts, and it gives you when you ovulate and also your fertile window. So it does the work for you and keeps it simple. So you can try one of those as well. They're very effective. Charting your cycle is quite accurate if you have a fairly regular cycle, but if you have irregular periods, or if you've been trying to get pregnant for a few months, you might want to try other more accurate ways of predicting your ovulation, like ovulation kits or ovulation strips. So these are pretty much like pregnancy kits. They give you a stick on which you pee, and it lets you know if you're ovulating in the next few days. It finds out the level of some hormone that indicates if you're ovulating or not, and these are quite accurate. So if you've been trying to get pregnant for a couple of months, what you can do is track your cycle and find out when your most fertile days are, and also use a strip to kind of confirm that you're ovulating that month. So it just makes it a little more, it gives you an exact period of time when you are most fertile. So you can use ovulation prediction kits as well. There are other methods of tracking your ovulation and your fertility, like checking your basal body temperature and cervical mucus. So what you have to do is take your temperature every single day right after you wake up, even before getting out of bed, and that is your basal body temperature. You keep a track of this temperature over a couple of months, and you'll notice that there's a little spike of 0.5 degree to 1 degree around the time when you ovulate. So it gives you an idea of when you're ovulating, and 5 days before your ovulation is your fertile window. Similarly, for cervical mucus, you can keep a track of its consistency throughout the month, and depending on its changes, you can find out when you ovulate. There's literally endless information about this on the internet, but I just wanted to give you the basics. So if you're trying to get pregnant, I would suggest starting out by charting your cycle and seeing, if you're fairly regular, you can pinpoint when you're ovulating, and you can use a couple of these methods to kind of increase your chances of conceiving that month. And of course, talk to your doctor first before you start to plan a family, and get yourself thoroughly checked out if you're physically ready and mentally prepared to take this step, because it's a pretty big decision and there's no going back once you do it. So I highly suggest talking to your doctor first. So I hope you found this video useful. I just wanted to give you an overview of how to track your cycle and how to know your ovulation and fertile days. And if you were watching this video because you're trying to get pregnant, all the best to you, and I'm sending you lots of baby dust and lots of good vibes, and I'll see you in my next video. But please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more such videos, and I also have a giveaway going on. I'll put a link to that down below. You can enter in that and win some goodies that I have chosen for you guys, and the giveaway will run for another 2 weeks, so do make sure to enter, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, you take care. Bye.